My name is Stephen Kraszewski, and welcome to Mason Farms Produce. We're here on Maryland's Eastern Shore in Queen Anne's County, right in the central peninsula of the Delmarva. And you're on a certified organic farm where we grow corn and soybeans, and we love our cover crops for many different things. Weed control and growing our nitrogen, loose tilth of the fields and keeping the ground covered, less erosion, better infiltration. And that all really started when the farm became certified organic in around 2006 or 2007 with my father-in-law. I've always believe that the land that we steward, when we hand it off to the next generation, it should be in better shape than when we found it. And what that really looked like was a very simple one type of cover crop, one rate kind of on all the fields. But what we're trying to do is take the next step. So not just broad cover crops everywhere, which is still a good thing, but now we are targeting our cover crops and using them for specific purposes, building that soil health and reducing the tillage, keeping the ground covered, especially the timing aspect of thing, and trying to, in my mind, stagger my planting season from the beginning of May through the end of June. Now, when we're talking about next year's corn crop, you're talking about this year's soybeans, and we try to fly on or broadcast with an airplane our legumes. We have 3 or 4 different types of legumes we can count on for this. Our first, and has been our standby for many years, is our crimson clover. It grows a lot of good biomass. You can grow with a good season anywhere between 75 and 100 pounds for next spring of available nitrogen. So as long as it's established properly, probably say 15 to 20 pounds an acre flown on. Our other option, and we've been using a lot more of, and I seem to like it a lot more, is our hairy vetch. We also are experimenting with balansa clover flying into our soybeans. Much even smaller than crimson clover seed, if you can believe that. Probably even a touch smaller than alfalfa seed. A very, very small seed. You don't need as high of a rate, but one nice feature about it, we found it tolerates wet feet. So we'll still reserve that for flying over, say, wetter ground. We have some wetter farms, heavier soils, and we can see a better result than just trying crimson clover or even vetch. They are all winter hardy, so the crimson clover, the hairy vetch, the balansa, cereal rye, even the flown-on wheat, with the exception of the tillage radish, because we want those living roots in the soil. I think on average, we have something growing in the ground, living roots in the ground, like over 325 days of the year, whether it's the cash crop or the cover crop. Probably the biggest thing we've been seeing is a lot better infiltration in our fields. So during a heavy rain event, whether that's throughout the winter or in the spring, when we're thinking about getting ready for some field work, we usually have a much wider window after a rain, or a window that comes by much sooner to do something, because the water will infiltrate. You have roots there, living roots that are there in the soil, the microflora and fauna alive in the soil. It's allowing that water to flow in, and a heavy rain, without any cover, you'll see the water sheet off and run to the bottoms. We have a lot of bottoms here in the Delmarva, or low spots, and that's where you'll see water sit most of the time. With a hardy, healthy cover crop, a well-established cover crop, you won't see that nearly as often. The rain stays where it falls, and that's exactly what the farmer really wants to see. They don't want to see water running off the field. It's carrying something away, or it's drowning something out. Organic matter specifically has so many different positive side effects for your soil. You're increasing the size of your soil reservoir. What you're creating is binding sites for nutrients. They're there to grab the nutrients, hold on to them. Those ions, the magnesiums, the calciums, potassiums, they're chelated to the large structures, the organic structures, because there's so much surface area. Well, all the structure it brings to the soil, it just brings more capacity, more of that reservoir to bear in your soil. So what you end up doing is you have more of a buffer for the crops that are growing out in the field. When the crops are growing good and it's hot and it's the middle of summer and you've just got a rain and the crops need something, that reservoir is there to tap into. And if it wasn't there, you'd have to be applying more nutrients, and you'd be losing more nutrients. You'd be losing them, you'd have to reapply them, you'd have to be supplementing. This season, when we're talking about the corn crop and what we're thinking about for next year's crop, which will be our soybeans, we think a lot about trying to put a lot of biomass out in the field. And the way to do that is to drill our rye cover crop. That's our main biomass maker that'll grow. That will shade out weeds in the spring. It'll overwinter, of course. We found out through many years of trial and error, growing rye, even done early and at high rates, you're talking about 2 to 2.5 to 3 bushels an acre of rye out in the field, that there were still spots that were patchy, uneven. Sometimes it's a wet spot or a compacted spot from there was more vehicle traffic. So what we added was crimson clover into that mix. That is kind of it finds its own niche out in the field. It fills in where maybe the rye is doing as well, and vice versa. So having a multi-species out there for our no-till soybeans has been a big game changer, a big improvement in our operation. We have the University of Maryland, Dr. Ray Weil. He'll bring one of his sustainable ag classes here. And yeah, we're always looking to give back that knowledge.
A growing cover crop competes with actively growing weeds by limiting space, water, nutrient, sunlight, carbon dioxide, and other resources. In the springtime, when you've got larger cover crop, it's doing the same thing, but you've got a lot more biomass shading out the soil surface, preventing those weeds from germinating. You see here now, this was a freshly planted cover crop, and it's mostly just kind of grassy leaf tissue. That's not going to do anything at planting to control our summer annual weeds. But as that cover crop grows, you're going to get a lot of nice lignified stem tissues, and that's going to produce a lot of biomass. After you terminate that cover crop, all that biomass is going to create a nice mulch layer on the ground. One advantage to planting green is some people can also get their soybeans in the ground earlier, and they're going to be a little more competitive with all the other summer annual weeds that'll come in the field.
We're standing in a harvested cornfield, and every farmer knows when they're talking about their fields is this field history. We knew we needed to make a change in this field. Instead of putting our usual cover crop mix in here with rye and our clover, we said, you know what, we're not going to get to it. This field does have wet spots, and we've had trouble establishing a good, solid, uniform cover crop in this entire field. So what can we do? We had heavy equipment on this field. I want something that's going to break up that compaction. Tap roots. That means I need something like a tillage radish. Well, tillage radish aren't a good idea to establish too early because they grow up too tall and then they get in your equipment when you're harvesting and it's all wet and it's a mess. What else is there? Well, there's canola and rapeseed. It's very hardy, it can overwinter, and it can provide really good coverage, as you can see right in front of you. So it kind of satisfies what we need for our soybeans for next year. We really need good roots and good cover. But what I've noticed last several seasons, when I want to get that timing just right, if I don't have that airplane available or it's cloudy, foggy, I've got to wait a day or two, or I've got rain coming and I've got to get my cover crop in. Well, why not just put it all in one place at one pass and I'm done and I can do it as soon as I'm ready to go. It's not always necessarily waiting on someone else. Now, there's nothing wrong with the airplane. It does a lot of our cover crop and does a great job. It's just sometimes there's the timing aspect that I need to improve what we do here. If the field's wet because it's a full tillage field and I've got a no-till field that's ready, I can go do that because I just got a half-inch rain, but that field's ready to plant that afternoon. I don't have to wait another 2 days. I can get busy and stay busy and keep planting. You need to have that flexibility for any kind of year, a wet year, dry year, or everything in between. This is our new addition, our modification to our air drill. The air drill is the big green John Deere drill you see before you, the big frame with the large hopper where we put our rye in. I wanted to do a 2-for-1 pass and take care of my small clover seed that I wanted mixed in with the cereal rye. So I decided to mount this air seeder to the frame. This idea, it didn't just come to me. I had talked with another farmer. He had this available to sell, and it fit a need that I had. That need was to improve my timing and my establishment of my cover crops. So now I can seed both my cover crops at the same time with one pass in the field whenever I'm ready for it.